I'll just go on YouTube. This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the fourth album by German band Rammstein. Basically, this project is called Reise, Reise, which is in English called Arise, Arise, and it came out in the fall of 2004. Now, last year I reviewed Rosenrot, which is a pretty excellent type of album to get that particular pitch. I forget what that meant. Rosenrot in English is rose red. It's an excellent type pitch of an album there. Definitely has some vicious type quality, but I'd probably say it, probably at least, and I don't remember as full-blown Rosenrot nowadays. It's because my MP3 players have kind of broken as far as this pitch can happen, but when I get back to some of that, I do own Rosenrot, so it's a good pitch to kind of get to towards some of those. I did like a lot of the singles on there, but this particular album, from what I've seen about it, outstrips Rose Red by quite a bit, I'd have to say. Rise Rise is a real excellent type fair. Every one of these songs on here is a vicious hit as far as those pitches can happen. It has 4 singles on top of that. Just some real good appeal, real great band work, instrumentation on here as far as those pairs would kind of happen. Easy kind of classic to kind of have. So just to say, simple enough. Just me recommending all 11 songs out of the ones on here is easily enough. Going to get 10 out of 10. Just kind of within the pitch as far as having some of these international type bands just within the fair. I look after it, just the surprise concept of this. Like, because Rammstein doesn't commonly drop. The unfortunate thing about it was they only dropped 1 album in the 2010s, so they're only on their 8th album despite having been here since like the mid-90s as far as those pitches kind of happen. Definitely feel like there probably should have been another album in there like 2013, 2016, some of those type pitches, but just within the concept kind of behind it, it's just the commonplace that this was a classic here, and it's just easy enough to kind of see that within the fair. This feels I'm definitely excited to get to further Rammstein after this particular one. I'm going to go to their 2001 album more than likely next. I'm going to start getting towards some of those, but just within the pitch, still do enjoy Rose Red, the album from 2005. Definitely a good pitch here, and this is a real excellent type one. So it's just within the pitch behind it, just being able to say. Now I'm not going to be able to go as full bound in depth with some of these, just because it's in German as far as those pitches can happen. I mean, there are translations in terms of like on Wikipedia talking about the song titles as far as those pitches can happen, but in terms of being able to have like a full blown kind of pitch as to what the descriptions would kind of be, it's just going to be kind of more here and there. So this might be a briefer type, snappy type one, but it's just within the pitch in terms of some of that. I would almost question what bands like, for people in Germany as far as those pitches can happen. Obviously you would think that Rammstein would be a pretty popular one within the sense, but I just question who would be like the alternative. If you had like, if Rammstein was like the Eminem or the Dr. Dre, it makes you question who'd be the Snoop Dogg or the 50 Cent or people like that in terms of German type bands as far as those pitches can happen. And surely there has to be some ones there. I mean, I look after when I would visit this band on like All Music, this would refer me to like, other new metal or industrial metal. It'd probably, refer me to like Rob Zombie or folks like that. But in terms of like some, an actual band, I just question further kind of industrial metal that would be similar to Rammstein. So some excellent type pitch, but this is an excellent type fair here. Dealt with some good international type fair. The unfortunate thing about it is just the fact that not terribly did this. I mean, this band has some pretty popular songs on Spotify, at least 4 songs with over 100 million plays. But in terms of like their chart appeal, it just kind of felt like the full blown. In terms of like on the United States metal charts, the rock charts, some of that type fair didn't have as many full blown. They just kind of had more international type fair. I don't know if this album went platinum or even gold within those senses, but it is excellent. It's easy enough to recommend. Even if you can't understand what they're saying, I would still fuck with this product because the band work, the hooks, the overall feel and the vibe, and just the pitch and the aesthetic about this product is supreme. So I just had to say so. But yeah, there were 4 singles off this project. The first single was My Part, which is also Me and Tail. I'm not sure how to say these in German, so it's just kind of the concept. I would just probably look up like the Wikipedia or just realize that I'm just going to refer to these songs for the most part as like the English translations. But My Part is the lead single. It's like a buzzing kind of electro metal single here to kind of get this great rave night kickstart to kind of have within that tone. Real nice boppish type one to kind of get here. Some Cage Night Carnage to kind of have within that sense, and it's a good dance song to kind of get within that tone. So this is one of those type ones. Rob Zombie, White Zombie are real good at these particular type songs. Marilyn Manson like his 90 days was pretty good with these particular type fairs. It's just like the sort of craze type pitch that we need to get back to. Songs like when you think off of like the Matrix soundtrack when they're speeding or in like a nightclub rave type pitch, just cage type appeal, something like that. Those typical type scenes where it just would be where you'd see like the women in the cages with like the Liberty spikes or something like that. Just would be that particular type of appeal. This real excellent vicious type fairs in the pitch behind it. Movies like trying to think of some other movies, maybe like Minority Report or Fight Club, some of those type movies just within the pitch behind it. But just real excellent type fair, real vicious type one, just nice, good dance. I like the fact that they kicked this off just real immediately. It's the concept behind this product. All these singles are pretty damn exciting, I'd have to say. America America is the second single, and this is another nice one. This is like a dreary but militant, surprisingly kind of late day makeshift commute to kind of get here. It's just a good driven kind of finish errand. It's like a good driven kind of finish errands up type song, kind of get within that particular type vibe. I'd say it's just a good type tone. Just some of that post grunge kind of dredge, not necessarily dread. I mean, it's kind of somewhat post grunge, but it's just within the concept of just having a little bit of like this edge towards it, just within the pitch. I mean, normally the post grunge just a little bit more just kind of bemoaning, just in the sense of just kind of like more settle in type mode. But this is actually kind of the mode of just being a little bit more upright and like, yeah, I can still probably do more things for another 3 or even 4 or 5 hours just within the pitch. This feels like a great tune for like 3:45, 5:15 p.m., something like that. Just the commerce of it, but just within the concept of not kind of being slouched and just within the pitch behind it. Just kind of has like it's an interesting aspect on like a typical take on like a more alternative metal kind of wind down, just because the concept of it is it's kind of a stretcher within the sense of just being done with your worship but still not just wanting to go settle in. So it's this good type pitch. This has a militant type brush about it that's interesting. Without You is the third single. Now this is one that switches up the tone. This is probably, I mean, this is like, I enjoy this song, but it's just the concept of the frequency as to how oftenly I'd listen to it. It's enough to recommend, but it's just in the pitch that this would probably be the one out of the 4 singles that would probably get the least amount of spins. But it is an excellent type one. This is like a stretching kind of quality glazed melodrama makeshift to kind of get here within that pitch behind it. Really do like just the way this kind of cranks out. This is one of those type ones that just goes for more balance just within the pitch. Just kind of a rainy day power ballad type song, kind of get within that tone. It's a nice song for a trek as far as those pitch kind of happen. Just standard commerce, just Monday type music, just in a more kind of gloom type sense. This real aspect behind it. That's the thing about Rammstein, is just the fact that they are very haunting within a sense, which I didn't recognize that about them. You wouldn't think within that pitch. They're kind of like Korn, kind of like Marilyn Manson, kind of like Rob Zombie, kind of like Fear Factory, some of those type folks, just within those relative type pitches, just being able to say just a lot of that particular type tone. Kind of like Power Man 5000, just without the more sci-fi type pitch, just within the fare behind it. Just would say some excellent type fare, but this is like a real good. This definitely pulls off like some gothic kind of pop alternative rock type feels just within the flair behind it. I'd say just some real nice melodramas, good type pitch, kind of get that one. Nice makeshift rainy day type music. And then No Desire is the 4th single, and this takes it back to the dance club just like My Part does. It's like a pounding kind of nightclub glitz kind of get here. Just similar industrial type feel to the Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson, definitely from some of that mid-90s kind of rave type fare, and this song slams pretty hard. So it's just excellent type fare. Glad that they have some of these energetic type ones. Just get back to that tone, because it's definitely an excellent type pitch. I want to say there were some songs like that off of Rose Red from what I remember, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying some blistering type ones here. So just getting some fares of that particular type concept within it, just had a good end. And this album clearly has more. This album does have more single choices than just the 4 ones that were on this particular product. I'd have to say it's just within the aspect of being able to say that there's actually plenty on this product to be in terms of like the aspect of just like social type fare and just pitches like that. So it's a good concept here. Nice compact type product that deserve nice compact and impactful type singles out this product that just nailed the vibe about it and just the social aspects. That's a good type flair for that. But yeah, just to simply say enough on it, just to simply say the what's up with this product, I recommend all the songs on here, so easily enough this product gets a 10 out of 10, just what I'd say. So we'll just get to some of these here. Basically one of my more favorite songs in this product that really nailed the vibe, especially within the pitch behind it, is Stone by Stone. It's like a super gloomy and excellent kind of post-grunge doom to kind of get within that aspect of some great malaise, like some autumn ruminate to kind of have within that tone behind it. Just real excellent type fare, really nails the pitch behind it. This is kind of one that's a little bit like America, but just a little bit more dreary and just a little bit more just gloom about it, that just had the aspect behind it. It's some great autumn type music, I'd have to say. Really like the dredge and malaise about this song. Love is a nice one as well. Now this is like a vintage kind of gusty kind of post-grunge makeshift to kind of get here, just some makeshift traverse, I'd have to say. Definitely reminds me of like a more gothic type version of Alien Ant Farm or Trapped or some of those type folks, that I'd say one of those type of alternative metal and mildly new metal type pitches with some of those type ones. There's probably some other ones in there I can't think of full blown, maybe to a lesser extent Blink-182, but just without the punk, I'd say just kind of some Vanilla Aaron's type music to kind of have within that pitch, I'd say. So it's a good type fare for that. Go Devoid is a nice one as well. It's like a peppy kind of bristling evening step out to kind of get here, just grab a couple drinks, dance club kind of food joint type pitch as far as those pitch kind of happen. I would say not necessarily like restaurant type fare, but just something where you could probably grab wings, have a brief snack like a bar, some pitch like that. It's kind of be near a booth, kind of mid dance, kind of mid food, just within the pitch behind it. Just nice kind of relative joint, just kind of have unwind. It's not almost like a pub, but just within the sense of having a little bit more groove towards it. Just a food joint, kind of socialized bop, kind of get within that pitch. Kind of more in between, just more fraternized type one compared to songs like My Part and No Desire, some of those type ones in Moscow, I'd have to say. But speaking of Moscow, this is a real excellent type one on here. It's another Cage Night, kind of UFC, similar blitzing to kind of get within that tone. Great rage here, I'd have to say. Goes with My Part. I would definitely feel like just some feral, kind of energetic rave night hits, kind of get within that tone as far as that kind of goes. So it's just good to kind of get some of these slammers just in the pitch behind it. Real excellent type, and just kind of have some of that. Just really the energy just reminds me a lot of Marilyn Manson off of his 1996 album Antichrist Superstar. I'd have to say some of those type fares, same sort of manicness, or Rob Zombie or White Zombie off of their Astro Creep 2000 album with songs like More Human Than Human, some of those type of ones, or even like Hellbilly Deluxe with songs like Dragula and Super Beast and some of those type pitches, just within the tone behind it. But just within the fare, I mean, for the most part, I can't think of too much. Like, it's a little bit trickier apart from like international bands to think of folks that kind of had like these more Cage Night and UFC rave type, these Cage Night and UFC rave type bounce type songs within the pitch behind it. That seemed like that kind of burnt out in America by the time you got to like 2000, mid 2000s, 2004, 5, and 6, as far as those pitch kind of happened. I mean, there were the occasion was just a good type pitch that was kind of going on. That, I mean, that's another slack that's a good natch that makes it disappointing that Rammstein doesn't drop more music, just because it's within the pitch that there should have been an album like this 2002, 2006, some of those type ones just within the fare, but it's just within the aspect that you get within the tone that some of these songs are real good slammers kind of have within that. Arise is a nice one as well. It's like a looming and grand kind of gothic traverse kind of get here, just snack run type music, I'd say, and definitely some autumn rumination. I would feel like this good marinate to have when it's cooler out as far as those pitch can happen. Goes pretty well with Stone by Stone, a little bit goes pretty well with Stone by Stone. I'd have to say definitely some of that just autumn, just embrace just within the pitch behind it. So this has some real good aspects about it as far as Arise kind of happens with it. Nice title track just within the pitch. It's real nice, real sprawling, kind of just haunting type one. Just great for September, October, I'd have to say within that. Or like the gothic appeal. Dalai Lama is a nice one as well as like an in-between day after hours kind of moments kind of get within this pitch. It's a good primer for like some night embrace. I would definitely feel like here it's kind of some step out just in the pitch, and it's just like a good one to smoke one and just recharge a bit before stepping out for the night as far as this pitch kind of happens. So it's just kind of the concept being at the crib after just got done with work shift, some of that type fare. It's kind of, Dalai Lama is just a great recharge type song to kind of get just after the work shift as far as those pitch kind of happen, just to switch up before heading out to like figuring out what's going to happen for the night, calling up some homies and pitches like that, figuring out where the bellers are at, just within that particular type tone as far as those fares can happen. It's a good, nice moment to kind of get out of work shift mode and switch to like, all right, what's going to happen? Just I like these in-between type moments. This is another good concept as to why there needs to be more Rammstein type projects just within the pitch as far as saying it's kind of has that relative type fare. Dalai Lama just feels like good Thursday type music just within the pitch behind it, just kind of the concept. Dalai Lama just feels like good Thursday type music just within the pitch behind it. Not necessarily one of the full-blown most crazy moments like Moscow or No Desire, some of those type ones, but just within the pitch as far as saying, just as far as like the step out of having some extra time and figuring out what's going to happen just in the fair, like some excitement. I'd have to say it's just within the good tone behind it. And I think I've about covered every other song on here. I think that pretty much takes care of it as far as those fairs going to happen. I think I talked about Moscow, Morning Star. I didn't talk about Morning Star, so this is a real vicious type one. This is another good turn up type one to kind of get here. So Morning Star is like a great backyard kind of hangout, I'd have to say. Just get held torch, smoke up real nice. Some held torch type fun kind of get here. Just a vintage turn up, I'd have to say, and the riffage and energy slams on this song pretty particularly. I'd have to say it's just relaxing type one. Just takes it back to vintage type fare. Some of those type songs you'd listen to, just smoking, listen to Korn songs, Metallica songs, pitches like that in the backyard. Just a great hangout type pitch with your homies, some of that type fare, bench type feel. Just good type pitch for some of that, just excellent typeness to kind of get within that tone. So just within the pitch behind it, all these songs hit particularly excellently, I'd have to say, within that aspect. Easy enough to say 10 out of 10. I will probably say the Soja score, I would give the Soja score a 10 out of 10. I think I'll give the Soja score a 10 out of 10 just because it's an international smash. Really has the appeals behind it. It's just the fact that in America, maybe these songs didn't chart as heavily within the pitch. That's the only reason why I wouldn't get a 10 out of 10. But I just feel like the appeal, I mean, it's not like you have to expect a band that's popular and came from Germany to just be an American kind of dynamite within those pitch behind it. I think it definitely had the appeal behind it. They have enough credibility and just within the pitch behind it. It has the social songs on here, has like the restaurant and food joint kind of gigs on here, has some rave and cage night type moments, has some makeshift on here, some pitches like that, some pop rock and kind of more Monday, Tuesday kind of stretchers just within the pitch. A lot of good haunting, autumn kind of dredging energy as far as those pitch kind of have. So it's just a real good compactest aspect, just a lot of thrills just in the aspect of just like standard kind of like autumn fair and pitches like that. So I just say I'll give the social score 10 out of 10. In terms of the future, like the most recent Rammstein album came out in 2022, and before that it was 2019, and before that it was before the 2022 and 2019 albums, it was way back in 2009 was the last time they really dropped any projects. So it's just within the pitch as far as those fairs going to happen. It's really no real clue as far as the next Rammstein album is going to come out, but I would definitely say I'm going to get to some more of these. Definitely, I mean, there might be compilation projects. I would have to say, I would have to assume that there would have to be something that might have come out in the 2010s apart from like just the 2019 album. I'll have to look around and see if there's like any unofficial or just scrap type projects just within the fair behind it. But I would definitely say this is a classic here. Really enjoyed it. Makes me, I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to Rose Red, but I did like that one quite a bit as well. But I am going to get to more Rammstein. I am going to get to more Rammstein down the road, including like their 2001 and more projects, I have to say. But easy classic here.